Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, Dreamer Readers. On this channel, we will be narrating inspirational speeches held by very, very special people. This first video is dedicated to a lady called Louise Michel. She is born in France, and she was the first to hold the first symbol of anarchism. Okay, let me go back in time and explain to you what anarchism is. Anarchism is a way of thinking formulated a long time ago where political governance and government's reinforcement is illegitimate and not desired, that it creates social hierarchy, and that us as people do not need it, do not wish it. This anarchist way of thinking goes back in Greek time, where philosophers like Zeno was teaching to his students that courts, police and even religion was not required, and he went on to say that money was not needed to be used, and people could easily exchange among themselves with the use of gifts. Moving on from Greece and the Middle East, Persia, a group of Islamic religious believers, preachers, were preaching that the state was harmful and illegitimate and immoral. So anarchism travelled back to Europe much later, started in England with a man called William Goodwill. William Goodwill says the government has a bad influence and creates mental enslavement. Later on, Jean-Pierre Proudhon, who is the first person to call himself, to entitle himself, to label himself as anarchist, believe that having property is a theft. Now we could go into depths as to anarchism and Marxism, but in all, anarchism is the symbol of anti-order. Now Louise Michel, who was not an anarchist for the first part of her life, she bear the first symbol, the black flag. This black flag later on became the symbol of the capital A encircled. The encirclement is not a circle, it's actually an O, and the capital A stands for anti and the O stands for order, anti-order. So the first symbol was the black flag, carried by Louise Michel when she had become an anarchist. She started her life as a teacher, and she took place in a semi-revolution called Paris Commune. She was imprisoned, and there she met her fellow mates, anarchists, and she became anarchist. In this trial speech, which I am going to narrate, she is now an anarchist, and it's the first time she is going to confront her enemy, the government. Now, justice and court is not her enemy. Once again, it's the government and the military reinforcement who are her enemies. So she is explaining to the court that she has seen governmental horrors. She goes to say that she'd rather prison for anyone than any kind of governance. And she also explains how France had been lost by Bonaparte, who had given France away to the international governance, and to her the Republic had been completely eradicated. She finishes her speech by explaining that she wants to naturally defend herself. She doesn't want to particularly go to prison, but she would like the justice to judge her for her speech, for her ideas, rather than her actions. And once again, she goes on to say that she does it to defend the people who she's with, who think like her, and that's why she carried the symbol of the black flag and not the red flag, because the red flag is the symbol of the dead people who died at war.
There is something more important in this trial than the removal of a few pieces of bread. This is an idea that we pursue. It is about anarchist theories that you want to condemn at all cost. You insist on famous pamphlets to the army, to which the public seems to have applied to make an advertisement which one hardly expected. We were treated differently, harshly, in 1871. I saw generals gunned down. I saw Mr. Gallifet killed without a trial. Two merchant monarchs who had never been partisans of the Commune. I have seen prisoners massacred because they dared to complain. Women and children were killed. The Federals were hunted down like wild beasts. I saw streets, corners filled with corpses. Do not be surprised if our pursuits move you little. Certainly, lawyer, Mr. General Lawyer, you find it strange that a woman dares to take up the defence of the black flag. Why did we shelter demonstrations under the black flag? Because this flag is the strike flag. It indicates that the workers have no bread. If our demonstrations had been peaceful, we would have taken the red flag. It is now known to burn ashes above the tomb of our dead. When we wear it, we will know how to defend it. We did not appeal to the Dead International because we could not reunite its sanctions, and because the International is an occult power, and it is time for the people to show themselves in broad daylight. Earlier we were talking about soldiers shooting at the leaders. Well, at Sedan, if the soldiers had fired on their chiefs, do you think it would have been a crime? Honor at least would have been saved. Well, we observed this old military discipline, and we let Mr. Bonaparte pass, who was going to deliver France to abroad. But I am not pursuing Bonaparte or Orleans. I only pursue the idea. I prefer to see Gautier, Kropotkin, and Bernard in the prisons than at the ministry. There, they will serve one is taken by vertigo and one forgets everything. As for me, what consoles me is that I see above you, above the courts, rising the dawn of freedom and human equality. We are today in the midst of misery, and we are in the Republic. But that Republic is not the Republic. The Republic we want is the one where everyone works, but also where everyone can consume what is necessary for their needs. The Republic we want is the one where we have fixed on the future, where one does not dwell. But they talk about freedom to us, with 5 years in prison at the end. Freedom of assembly, it is the same thing. In England, the meeting would have taken place. In France, the summons of the law has not even been issued to withdraw the crowd, which would have left without resistance. People are starving, and they don't even have the right to say they are starving. Well, I took the black flag and went to say that the people were without work and without bread. This is my crime. You will judge it as you wish. You say we want to make a revolution, but these are the things that make revolutions. It was the disaster of Sodom that brought down the empire, and some crime of our government will also bring about a revolution. That is certain, and perhaps you yourselves, in your turn, you will be on the side of the indignant. Of your interest is to be there. Think about it well. If there are so many anarchists, it's because there are a lot of people disgusted with the sad comedy that the governments have been giving us for so many years. I am ambitious for humanity. I would like everyone to be an artist enough, a poet enough, for human vanity to disappear. For me, I no longer have any illusions. And look, when the general lawyer speaks of my vanity, well, I have too much pride even to be a leader. A leader must at given times humble himself before his soldiers, and then every leader becomes a despot. I don't want to discuss the accusations of theft with which I am reproached. That is too ridiculous, but if you want to punish me, I commit offences of the press, of speech, every day will pursue me for these crimes. In short, the people have neither bread nor work, and we will only have war in perspective. And we want peace for humanity through the union of people. These are the crimes we have committed. Everyone seeks their way, we seek ours, and we think that the day when the reign of freedom and equality will have arrived, the human race will be happy.
Click the subscribe button and the notification button so that you stay informed on the next subject of speech that I shall be narrating. I am extremely passionate about these speeches. I think they are an inspiration to history. I think they are curving moments in humankind. They are, as we can see through Louise Michel, international. They hop from one ground to the next ground. And this subject of anarchism is an important subject to me. I shall come to you very shortly with a second speech, hopefully as inspiring as this first speech. Have a nice time and see you next time. Have a nice time.